Oh, hello there. Haven't seen you guys in a while. Well, you're about to because I'm going to read another chapter of Shut Up and Dance With Me. Yep, that's right. You still have to read in the middle of this whole little crazy story right here. Where Lance and Keith are dancing together and everything you need to know. So we're moving on to chapter 6 of this whole crazy whole ass story of them dancing. So, let's get to chapter 6 in the title Glad You Came. So it's basically that song is by The One, which they have been disbanded already for too long. I don't mind. Alright guys, let's get to it.
The sun goes down, the stars come out, and all that counts is here and now. My universe will never be the same. I'm glad you came.
Group chat. Family BBQ. Today's menu, roasted lambs. Can you guys please stop yelling? It was funny the first couple of times, but it's getting old real fast. Seriously, we can barely hear our own music. If you don't stop coming off your music altogether. Ah, yes. Speaking of that, Paige and Honk, I'm going to speak to you about tampering with two wiring and equipment. I played the fifth. Honk innocent whistling. To Honk and Pidge's original point, I agree. We can hear it too all the way down the second floor. Don't make us come up there. Ooh, Dad on the mission. Does that make a little Mom? Pidge, what did I do? Can you please tell Keith that he can trust me to flip him? Keith, you most definitely cannot trust Lance to flip you. Pidge. Thank you, Pidge. Anytime, man. Pidge, I can't believe you. Betrayal. I'll call him like I see him. Rude. I'm totally trustworthy. They have a point, dude. Honk. You never really practiced flips before. Auditions are in less than a week. I can't, in good conscience, recommend it. Plus, you have noodle arms. I do not. I can do handstands. Lance has a point. It takes quite a bit of strength to hold one body's weight steady. Yeah, but it's different throwing around someone else's weight. Also, very good point. Not to mention the point of Lance's pasta arms. They do not have noodle arms. Debatable. How do we define noodle arms? Skinny little sticks with skin. That kind of flavor would wobble around a lot. That sounds awful. Lot like Lance. Babe, I can live. I'll bench press you any day. Is that so? Ha! Huh. That's an amusing sentient, Lance. Why is no one ever on my side? We don't like siding with the losing side. Excuse? She will destroy you. Oh yeah? And how would you know? She being a plank off last week. She cheated. If you can't take the heat, get out of the gym. I want fair and square. You cheated, and you know it. And how did I cheat, Keith? Yes, Keith. Why did you share with the class? No. Golf. I bet she won because Keith sucks. Do you even live, bro? Yes. Oh. Not just drag or anything, but I'd like to bring us back around to the fact that Lance should not attempt to flip Keith. Like, I'm actually kind of worried that he's going to try. And you should definitely not do that, Lance. I agree. It's not too late to throw something like that into the mix. Maybe next time. Please do not bleed on the dance room floors. I just had them polished. New state policy. You bleed, clean it up. No exceptions or excuses. Why does no one believe in me? We must return to the arms. Plus, Keith is a fatty. Rude. He was the puttiest little kid. Shiro! Yeah, I remember those days. Little baby pudgy Keith with a bad skin and chubby cheeks and a hair brush couldn't tame. Fuck off. Aw, he sounds so cute. I want pictures. Seconded. No. Lance wants you all to know that he's doing handstands to prove his strength. Knock him over. Knock him over. Keith, don't knock him over. Please don't injure him. He moped for weeks if he misses another round of auditions. There is only so much wallowing my office can take. Keith knocked me over. Nice. Called it. Also, I'm with Laura. I want to see pictures of chubby child Keith. Give me the blackmail. I most definitely have pictures. Shiro, my dude. Hook me up. Sure thing. Shiro, think about what you're doing. I am. I'm thinking about how it's my brotherly duty to embarrass you. This road goes both ways. I can get pictures too. I see your point. God damn it! Keith, I humbly request seeing Shiro pictures. Hell, and yeah, me too. Keith told me he had terrible acne, and braces, and a bowl cut. Oh my god. Please, Keith, I need to use this. It's of the utmost importance. Keith, why does Lance know this? We were bonding. We had a moment. By talking about how it looked in high school? Damn right. And now I want pictures. Same. Seconded. Thirded? Fourthed. Oh man, those were the good old days. I probably have a few pictures around too. I can find them on Matt's computer. Shouldn't you all be practicing? Yes. I'd just like to point out that, yes, we should. Auditions are in a couple of days, and our practice hour is already half over. Fine. No fun zone. Lance, shut up and put your phone away. Make me, mullet. Actually, do you think he did it? Definitely. We heard Lance's screams. Shiro, we should get back to practice too. Yeah, Shiro. Mom is calling for you. Leaving. Hello. Good luck, everyone. That's another text from those guys, and they're trying to resuscitate and recognizing all the pictures, and they're just going back together. So that's why I try to make it to it. Let's put in some work. All right, let's do another one. The gym is Keith's only safe haven. It's where he goes to think. It's where he goes to be alone. It's where he goes to get away from everything. When he's there, he can get in his own head. Take a moment to think about what makes him tick. Works through his problems while his body engages in mindless activity. It's refreshing, it's rejuvenating, it's relaxing. And other than occasionally when Shiro and Laura hang out around him, he usually left alone to do his own thing. He can just be himself. No worries, no anxieties. He doesn't have to think about auditions. He doesn't have to think about how him and Lance have so much work to do. How they're still rocky with choreography. He doesn't have to think about how frustrating it is to work with Lance. He doesn't have to think about Lance and his stupid smiles and cocky, flippant attitude. He doesn't have to think about Hunk and how the big guy is so earnest and pure and quite easily the most genuine human being he's ever met. He doesn't have to think about Pitch and how he hasn't realized how much he missed having them in his life and how grateful he is to have a second chance at being close again. He doesn't have to think about Laura, who has become less like just his brother's dance partner and not quite girlfriend and casual acquaintance, and more like her own person and friend in Keith's life. He doesn't have to think Karan and how the man he's always just seen as just a dance instructor and Laura's brother friend thing. is slowly becoming more like that weird exotic uncle friend that hangs around because he honestly likes everyone and everyone honestly likes him. He doesn't have to think about Shiro and how seeing his brother interact with his friends is making him see a whole new dimension to his brother that makes them feel closer than ever. Here, at the gym, he doesn't have to think about how he's ever considered himself to be someone who had or even needed a lot of friends. He's always been fine with just him and Paige and Shiro. Hell, he even considered Matt a friend. And when they started to grow apart, he had accepted it and hadn't felt the need to fill the void. He wasn't fine like this. He had always been fine without constant companionship. And now he finds himself thrust into a group of friends that he never asked to be part of, but who are, for some reason, determined to keep him around. And the strange part, he actually kind of likes it. He likes them. They're all quirky and fun and just good people. And all because he had made the decision to try out for Rachel's with Lance. Lance with his too loud laugh. Lance with his infuriating smirks. Lance with his irritatingly persistent competitive nature. Lance with his dramatic flair he puts into everything. Lance in the way he fights back against all of Keith's destruction. The way he complains and whines whenever Keith corrects him. The way he really does listen and try to spread all of his protests. Lance in the way he actually makes a point to include Keith like it's only natural to do so. Lance in the way but Keith isn't going to think about Lance right now. Him and the rest of the group have been on his mind way too much lately. He's still a little floored that they all been so ready and willing to accept how he just kind of slipped into their lives seamlessly and they barely had to think about accepting it. He's not thinking about any of those things or about any of those people because thinking about them never fails to make his chest tight with the chaos emotions that are new and blinding, and he doesn't think he's properly equipped to deal. Just for a couple of hours, he's going to let his mind rest, black out all those emotions wordlessly, screaming, ignore all the thoughts that are too loud. In here, in his gym, the real world can't touch him as long as he's within these walls. That is, until the real world comes crashing through the doors to shatter his peace of mind in the form of Lance McClain. What's up, Hulk Hogan? Your hand comes down his shoulder and Keith jumps, slamming his locker shut with a little too much force. He whips his hand around, scowling at Lance's grinning face. He raised an amused eyebrow, frown firmly in place. Hulk Hogan? Really? Lance chuckles, shrugging with one shoulder as he steps away, opening the locker a couple down from Keith's. I just thought, gym, wrestler, kinda same thing, right? Does it really count as a mullet if he's balding? Oh yeah, definitely still counts. Even if it's an unfortunately coincidence. But I doubt it. He was around in the time when mullets were all the rage. Tosses his bag into the locker before bouncing on one foot, lifting the other to pull at his shoelaces. Now that the shock of seeing Lance here, of all places, has dulled somewhat, Keith takes a moment to actually take him in. He's got on sneakers, a t-shirt, and a hoodie, but that's not what draws his attention. He's wearing shorts, which honestly isn't too surprising, because it's a gym. Hell, even Keith is wearing shorts. But his shorts are skin tight, cut up above his knee, and are black with a couple sweeps of blue. What the actual fuck? Why is he wearing legging shorts? They show off the leanness of his thighs and draw attention to his toned calves. Jesus, his legs are shaved? Something wrong, champ? Lance says, snapping him out of his stare fest with Lance's legs. Keith rips his eyes up to Lance, which aren't that far, to be fair. He's bending over to untie his shoes. His scout is back in full force, and he holds it firmly in an attempt to fight off the warmth he can feel creeping up his neck. What are you doing here? He pauses, blinks, and then a small smirk starts to cover his. Well, currently, I'm untying my shoes, and Keith says flatly, lifting a hand to pinch the bridge of his nose while his other arm wraps around his middle. He closes his eyes briefly. You know what I mean, he says. Sorry, dude. Couldn't resist. Seriously, though. Keith lets his hand drop, opening his eyes. Lance has gotten one shoe off, tossed it in his locker before peeling off his sock as well. Then, he's onto the other foot. What are you doing here? I've never seen you here, and honestly, you don't seem like the gym type. Lance pauses, looking up to narrow his eyes suspiciously, his lips pursed into the tiniest of frowns. This conversation sounds strangely familiar. He holds his gaze and raises one eyebrow, unable to hide the quirk of his lips at Lance's comical impression of scrutiny. Lance points at him, narrowing his eyes. You, sir, need to stop underestimating me, he says, trying to be serious but unable to hide his smile. Instead, he ducks his head and pulls off his other shoe, throwing it and his sock in his locker. When he stands back up, he rests his hands on his hips. Besides, there's a lot you don't know about me, like the fact that you shave your legs, Keith says, trying to keep his tone conversational as he gestures to Lance's calves. He's not sure why he said that. He just can't stop looking and thinking about it because... What the Lance? So, might as well draw attention to it so he has a reason to stare, right? Yeah, great thinking, Keith. Draw attention to the fact that you're gawking at him like you've never seen legs before. Great idea. Lance seems surprised at first, smile fading as he blinks in confusion. Then he looks down, like he's seeing his legs for the first time. He even wiggles his toes. Jesus. Then he's looking up, head tilted to the side and grinning sheepishly. He lifts a hand to scratch at his neck. Yeah, I started doing that when I swam back in high school. You didn't need to, and I don't think it does anything. But the whole team did it on a dare once before a swim meet. And I kinda like it, so I kept it going. He doesn't know what to say to that, honestly. So made a non-committal grunt and somehow managed to tear his eyes from Lance's legs and back to his face. I didn't know you swam. Like I said, there's a lot you don't know about me, he says with a wink. Keith purses his lips together, holding his face as impassive as he can. When he doesn't get a response, Lance cups, scratching the back of his neck. Anyway, that's why I'm here. I mentioned that I missed swimming a while ago, and Laura said this place has a nice pool. So I thought I'd come check it out. Ah, so that explains the shorts. Swimsuit. He should have known. And then Lance is reaching for the hem of his shirt, and Keith spins around on his heel. Nope, he's having none of that. Right, Keith's already walking away, uncoiling his headphones and putting one in his ear. Good luck with that. What are you going to do? He hears Lance call out behind him. He doesn't turn around. Instead, he shrugs, waving an arm vaguely. To do the usual stuff. Alright, well, see you later then, I guess. Later. Now, if this really were the usual stuff, he probably would have gone straight to the indoor track. Probably. He usually did. But when he reaches the top of the stairs, he finds himself turning left instead of right. And somehow, while thinking about it, he ends up in a weight room. And he's about 85% sure it has nothing to do with the fact that the weight room has a glass wall that looks down over the pool. Okay, maybe 70% sure it has nothing to do with it. 60? 45. He's curious, alright? Sue him. He just learned the pain in his ass. He's not really rival. His Dan's partner and kind of his new friend swims, and he's curious about it. He can't swim for the life of him. Plus, if he knows Lance and Laurel like he's pretty sure he does, they'll end up in some sort of race. And it's all for seeing Allura kick Lance's ass. He's honestly should have expected to see Shiro there. He's hard to miss. A lot of the dudes hanging around the weight room are big, but his brother isn't just big, he's strong. In presence as well as body. There's something about him that makes people take notice, and he's pretty sure it would be that way. Even if he didn't have a tuft of white hair and a prophetic arm. He's standing on the other side of the room, a couple of dumbbells in his hands. He's lifting them, but it seems half-hearted. A small smirk tugging at his lips. He slips across the weight room, sliding up to his brother's side. Enjoying the view? Shiro jumps, dropping both weights in his surprise. They both spring back to avoid getting their toes crushed. There's hiss from the attendant across the room about dropping weights, and Shiro lifts a hand, muttering an apology. A heavy blush spreading quickly across his cheeks. Keith just grins, crossing his arms over his chest. Keith, he says faintly, almost like a warning, but also filled with deep kind of exasperation that can only come from knowing someone for years. Oh, what's up, bro? Shouldn't you be, I don't know, running? Am I not allowed to come and see my dear's older brother? Shiro just glares at him, crossing his arms over his chest to mirror Keith's posture. He doesn't bother picking the weights up again. What were you looking at? He asked, putting that innocent edge to his voice. He turns, taking a step toward the window wall. Yep, that'll do it. Just as he expected. Allura is sitting by the poolside, her hands behind her as she leans back and her legs idly kicking in the water. She's wearing a one-piece swimsuit, white and blue and pink. Her hair is somehow wrangled back into a tight bun that sits close to her head, even as several curl strands fall down to frame her face. As Keith turns to look at his brother, his grin can only be described as eating. Don't what? You know, Dad. Enlighten me. I know exactly what you're going to say. Shiro lifts his chin a fraction, glaring down his nose at Keith. He admits, it's probably a pretty imitating pose. Unfortunately for him, it doesn't work on Keith. Not when Keith has known him long enough to see how flustered he is undefeated at all. Don't. Keith tilts his head aside. What was I going to say exactly? Well, Shiro's demeanor cracks. He tilts his head back, away from Keith, eyes starting to the ceiling, the wall, the floor. He waves a hand around vaguely. You know, I don't. He sighs, pinching the bridge of his nose, and he shakes his head. I'm too tired of this. Keith feels his grin widen, if only a fraction. He has to bite back his laugh. No, you're just getting old. Shiro opens his eyes, and hands still at his face. His cheeks are tinct pink as he glares at Keith. To deal with you acting like you're 5? Yeah, you're right. With some difficulty, Keith swallows his laughter. He sighs, shaking his head and forcing his grin to fade. Alright, here's the deal. He looks up at Shiro, all seriousness. Shiro raises an eyebrow. I'll stop acting like I'm 5 when teasing you. Thank you. Why don't you start acting like you're 12 about your crushes? He feels the grin coming back, quirking in the corners of his lips. Keith, Shiro snaps, pursing his lips as the color on his face darkens. What, are you trying to tell me you don't have a crush? Because I wouldn't believe you if you did. Shiro stares him down, looking 12 kinds of mortified and embarrassed. Keith just grins. Shiro sighs again, shaking his head. Why are you like this? He looks away, eyes once again turning to the glass wall, no doubt looking at Allura. Keith doesn't bother to look, too busy drinking in the sight of his blessed brother. As your little brother, something changes in Shiro's expression. It's subtle, but enough to make Keith curious. He finds his gaze drifting toward the window, and down towards the pool. I have faithfully devoted my life to. His eyes settled on Lance, walking toward the pool, and his words quiver and die on his tongue. He's tall. He's always been tall. He knows he's tall and lanky, but somehow, right now, he's reacquainted with this fact. His swimsuit is tight and without a shirt, he can really see all the contours of his body. Since did he have such broad shoulders? His arms and legs definitely don't normally look that defined, and Keith is pretty damn sure that his waist has never been that narrow. God, who is this, and what has he done with Lance? As he watches, Lance stretches his arms over his head, back muscles tightening and rolling beneath his tan skin, and he feels something inside of him waver a little bit. What the actual is wrong with him? This is Lance, loud-mouthed and obnoxious Lance. The man who gets under his skin and pisses him off at every available opportunity to, he tries to get back to his sentence. He's been quiet for long enough for it to be weird. His voice is higher than he was anticipating, and he cuts himself off to clear his throat. He really fucking hopes Shira doesn't notice. But of course, the universe hates him. So it does. To what? Shira asks curiously. Interest peak. Keith doesn't look at him, but he can see Shira staring at him out of the corner of his eye. And then he's following Keith's gaze, and oh, and god damn it, he has that same eating voice that he had a moment ago. Don't, he says slightly. Don't what? Shira practically sings. He eating this up. He refuses to look at him. You can feel the telltale heat creeping up his neck. Whatever you're going to say, just don't. Shira laughs, pulling up his hands. Alright. He breathes a small sigh of relief. He certainly wouldn't have been back down so quickly, but he's glad Shira does. He doesn't have a mean bone in his body. So, Lance, he groans, slapping a hand over his face. She said, Shiro, it's not like that. Like what, dear brother? I know what you're thinking, Shiro, and it's not like that, he says firmly. He hums. Is that so? I'm not doing this. Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to talk about Allura? There was a brief pause in it. Touché. Truce? For now. And then they stand in silence. Blasted, tense, awkward silence, while the two of them refuse to look at each other. Shiro doesn't move to pick up his weights again, and Keith doesn't bother going to get in. They watch as Lance launches himself into the pool and curls up to the cannonball as he hits the water. Allura throws up her arms, shielding her face as water splashes over her shoulder. She laughs as Lance comes back up, grinning at her. He swims to where she's sitting and crosses his arms on the edge of the pool next to her. He doesn't know what they're talking about, and he doesn't really care. He's too busy glaring at the expanse of Lance's shoulders and back as he dips into the water. Hey guys! He tucks his heavy hand, comes down on the shoulder, flips his head around, face contorting into Lord knows what as he stares at Hunk in horror. On Hunk's other side, he sees Shiro in a very similar position. Hunk, he managed to get out, though his voice sounds strangled. What are you doing here? Shiro asks, coming shortly after and managing much better. Hunk grins at them both, completely oblivious to the fact that the two of them have been watching Lance and Laura by the poolside. Suddenly hit Keith just how fucking creepy that is, and knocks the air out of his lungs. His ears are burning. Hunk shrugs. I came here with Lance. He said he was gonna come by and swim with Laura, and he asked if I wanted to come with. I've been meaning to find a new gym anyway. Pitch may not weight much, but it never hurts to be prepared. You know, he gives him a weak smile, trying to ignore the warmth on his face. They're in the gym though. Hunk has no idea how long they've been here. They can probably blame it on exhaustion, right? I'll be happy to show you around, Hunk. Shio says, and Kimber sounds so calm, like he hadn't just been caught red-handed, staring like a creep. Hunk grins at him. That sounds great, Shiro. What have you guys been doing so far? When I got here, when you looking down, he takes a step forward, curious eyes going into the window, down to the pool below, and oh hey, it's Lance and Aurora. He brightens, instantly, seemingly oblivious to Key and Shiro, sitting beside him. Do they know we're up here? Uh, no. We, uh, Shiro starts for words. We just noticed them, he finishes. Boy's a little pitchy, but otherwise calm. He exchanges a tight-lipped look with Shiro, a signed agreement passing between them. Yeah, I noticed Allura down there when Keith showed up. Then Lance walked out. Don't think they've noticed us. Shiro says with complete calm. It's 100% true when he says it. It doesn't really sound creepy at all. Huh. Well, let's say hi. And before he say anything to stop him, Hunk steps over, rapping his knuckles heavily on the glass, ignoring all the looks he gets around the weight room as he says something. Lance! Lance! Allura! Hey guys! To Keith's horror, they both looked up, faces breaking out into grins as Hunk waits at them. They wave back, and Keith looks away, pursing his lips and really fucking hoping the color on his face isn't visible from down below. God, he can't even make eye contact with Lance while he's like that. Jesus Christ, there's something wrong with him. He excuses himself and walks into the racks of dumbbells, grabbing two of them himself. When he comes back to the other two, they're still staring intently down the pool. Shiro doesn't seem nearly as red anymore, and he's even smiling. What's going on? Yes. Coming to stand on the other side of Hunk. Hunk crosses his arms over his chest, easy smile on his face as he glances at him. Looks like they're about to have some sort of race. Look! He does, and sure enough, Lance and Laura are both standing at the edge of the pool in front of two empty lanes that have been roped off from the rest. They're both stretching as they talk, and Keith knows those smirks. Both of those smirks. Those cocky, self-assured smirks. Even if Hunk hadn't told him, he would have known right away what was happening. As they watch, the two of them line up by their respective lanes, standing at the edge and bending over into position. Both of them have really good form, and Keith watches Allura's because she's so much easier to stare at. Who do you think will win? Allura asks. Shiro smirks. Keith scuffs. Allura, they both say at the same time. Hunk throws back his head and laughs. He's not sure who's counting them down, but he sees Allura tilt her head to say something to Lance, who immediately breaks form to stand up straight, arms flailing as he says something they can't hear. His face looks mortified, and then Allura is launching herself into the pool, entering with water with grateful perfection. Lance's wireless shout echoes around the room below before he's diving in after her. There is to one end of the long pool and back. Allura hits the turn around point first, but Lance is right behind her. Despite how smoothly he cuts through the water, he can't close the distance. Allura hits the edge of the pool with a loud whoop and throws a hand in the air, grinning as Lance hits the edge. Looks furious. He says something to her as he pulls himself out of the water and sits himself on the edge. Lance's head snaps up to look at them as he gestures violently to Allura, who's innocently treading water. His voice is muffled through the glass, but is loud and echoes around the room enough for them to make out the words. She cheated! Keith laughs. Oh well, I guess Allura was beating every single every single friend that they have been putting into this little effort, but oh well, just as much as you want to think, but alright, if you want to say so. Group chat, family B barbecue, today's menus. Whatever. Lance is about to type into the chat. Ignore him. Shiro, I have a humble request. Keith, F you. This is between me and Shiro. Hey guys. What's up? Punk, buddy old pal. Tell Keith to shut his mouth. Yeah, sorry buddy. I'm not gonna do that. Thank you, Hunk. No problem, buddy. Okay, I'm gonna gloss over that betrayal in favor of pursuing my mission. Shiro, you here? Hold on. I'll tell him to look at his phone. Allura, don't! Allura, you're an angel. I'm here. What is it, Lance? God. Language, Keith. Gosh. Shiro, I have a request. Shiro, if you ever loved me, you ignored him. If Lance's request is gonna embarrass Keith, I say go for it. Hitch, you're not gonna want to be on my side for this. What? Why? Oh god. What's that idiot going to do? Shira, I want to see pictures of Keith and Paige in high school. Oh. No. That's why you're gonna want to be on my side. Shiro, send me pictures of the emo twins. Shiro, don't you dare. Shiro, I will disown you. Are you sure you can't do that, Keith? Watch me. Hunk, back me up. You want to see pics of this train wreck too, right? Going to stay out of this one. Hunk! Bro! Sorry, dude. But I live with them. And I'm not willing to take the consequences of the courage in this. They know where I sleep. Hunk knows what's up. Boo! You whore! Allura's on my side, right? Karan? Most definitely. I love to see pictures of them in high school. I bet it's adorable. No offense, but you, Allura. I knew you were evil. What are friends for, if not relive your past with you in humorous light? I say, bring on the pictures. I'm sure we could all use a good laugh with the stress of auditions looming over us. Or you, as the case may be. I'm delightfully stress-free at the moment. So I think the pictures will be assuming. That's what I'm talking about. Bring on the pics, Shiro. It's your brotherly duty. As much as I would love to agree with you, Lance. And as much as I love any opportunity to embarrass Keith. I hate you. Shiro, think about this. I'm going to have to say no. Oh, thank God. What? Shiro? Why? It's been mentioned before that blackmail pictures are a two-way street with us. I don't think the revenge pictures would be worth it. What if I promise not to look at them? I can't make that promise. Nor can I. Same here. Guys, please. I'm trying to negotiate over here. Sorry, Lance. No deal. You can stay my brother for now. You made a wise decision. Man, this busted blackmail system. And Lance had renamed the conversation. BBQ, base menu, flash fried emo twins. Not gonna lie, that menu sounds gross. What the is this? I've returned, and I come bearing gifts. That better not mean what I think it means. Strap in, kiddies. We're about to go on a wild ride. Lance, what are you doing? And Lance sent an image 3 times. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm breaking your kneecaps. Where did you get those? You're both so cute. Allura, I like you, but I will not hesitate to take you down. Bring it, short stuff. You're adorable. Oh my god. Please, don't kill me, Paige. But Allura's right. Look at those 2 adorable emo souls. Paige has black hair with green highlights. Keith has a douchey red streak. Still malt though. Go off, Lance. I will end you,
you soggy piece of bread. What a delightful display of you. Reminds me of my days in high school. Tried to dye my mustache once. That did not go well. It did not. I'm crying tears of joy right now. I have been blessed. I'm going to beat you with that garden gate. How the ever live did you find those pictures? Shira, I swear to God, you're being suspiciously quiet. Trying to figure out how Lance could have gotten those from me. It didn't give them to him. I swear. I'm texting Mom right now to send me your embarrassing pictures. Keith, please. It wasn't me. We had a deal, and I didn't break it. Cheryl, you bowl of stale cereal. I'll have my vengeance. It wasn't me. As much as I would love to see the retribution pics, I feel like I should state it wasn't Shiro. Then how the f*** your brother, dude? Matt did this? I'm gonna kill him. Hitch, let's stay reasonable. I'm sorry I can't hear over the sound of sibling betrayal. Hitch, you're starting to sound like Lance. This is the best day of my life. Shut the f*** up, Lance. Delete those. Right now. Make me, Bullet Boy. I'm going to break your kneecaps. Keith, I need my kneecaps if I'm going to dance. You won't me. Not yet, but I will. Are you gonna cut my life into pieces? What? Is this your last resort? Oh my God. Suffocation? No breathing? Stop. I made this username years ago, okay? I never used this stupid program. Golf. Haha, can't escape your past, Keith. Just to sow more discourse. Trademark. Paige was the one who told me where your username was from. Paige, what the f? Can't talk right now, Keith. Deal with brother dearest. Teenage emo kids, everything I ever hoped for. I am living. And Keith is changing his setting last resort to golf. Ahahaha! Keith, don't you Keith me, Zero. This is bullshit. I can't even get my revenge on him because Matt is simply not ashamed of his cocky, awkward teenage self. What the f is up with that? To be honest, he hasn't changed much over the years. I mean, yeah, but in principle, he should still be ashamed. I'm offended. Oh, speaking of Matt, he also sent me this. You take that Phil Beck, you unfathomably itchy sweater? Not on your life, Hitch. Payback's a bitch. Aww, that's adorable. Aw, there's living and cuddling. Hunk, I will hide all your favorite cooking utensils. That is positively adorable. It is, pretty sure. That's one of my favorites. And then Keith sent an image. Keith, why? I don't send those pictures to Lance. This is amazing. Awkward teenage Shiro. This is the best day of my life. What a strapping young lad. This is the best thing I've ever seen. Allura, please, don't. Don't what? Keith, why? If I had to suffer, so do you. This is the best. Trademark. Have I died and gone to heaven? I feel like I need to level the playing ground. Hunk? What are you talking about? Sorry, buddy. If I don't pacify Pidge, I fear what they might do. Hunk! Do it, Hunk. Do it. Please. Do it. You're outvoted, Lance. No! And Hunk sent it. Don't really look. Avert your eyes. Sweet, sweet justice. Wow. Shut your whore mouth, emo boy. I suddenly feel better about myself. Off! And you made fun of me for braces and acne? It was before I had my personal hygiene routine, okay? Lance, you're adorable. Shut the f off, Aurora. Shut off. Shut off. Shut off. Go ahead and shut off, Aurora. I'd rather she didn't. I'm sure. Shut off, hunk. Buddy, you brought this on yourself. Yeah, I figured. I don't blame you. And Lance said, you had to fake that on one? Sorry. Not sorry, buddy. Okay, but Teen Chunk is actually adorable. Like a straight up prepubescent angel? I can't even make fun of him. Yeah, I'm a pitch. Let's go back to making fun of Lance. Hey! I can offer a diversion for you, Lance. And Karan sent an image. Karan? Behold, young Allura. Is she precious? Aww. Ha! Karan, you're my hero. Oh my god. That's so cute. I'm leaving this shot. What's the matter, princess? Can't dish it out, but can't deal with it? A parting gift. And Allura sent an image. Karan, were you just born with that mustache? I've been gifted. That's honestly impressive. You were a strapping young dude, Karan. Why, thank you, Unc. That's some scary shit. That mustache is immortal. Karan looks almost the same as he does now. I know it's not fair. Oh, how about this one? And she sent an image. Ah! Whoa! No! No, 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 no! Holy. Wow. Put the mustache badge on and put it on what it is. This witchcraft. Why is this group like this? Because friends make friends share their suffering. Facts. Truth. Deal with it, preteen mullet. I hate you all. Ah, Keith likes us. Ah, 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 ah. Oh, Jesus Christ! It's not going to end well. Oh my God! And all those two keep texting and sharing off all those bullshittery stuff. Then the throwing all this little shades, throwing out the shades, putting them, showing all the pictures, all the pictures, and sharing them, putting into some mean stuff. What you want to say to all that stuff? If you ever showed to all pictures, you can go yourself. Keith, I'm exhausted. Lance whines, throwing an arm over Keith's shoulders and leaning his whole body into it. Lance hates that he doesn't even budge. He just shifts his feet a little to rebalance himself. Lance, get off of me, he says mildly. His voice is calm, but there's faint color in his cheeks. Then again, that could be just from the fact that they've run through their dance routine like 100 times in the past hour. Ugh. No, I'm exhausted. You're tiring me out. Jesus, Keith, haven't you ever heard that too much practice can be a bad thing? No. Well, it can. Lance hops, draping both arms over his shoulders. He ignores him in favor of scrolling through his phone. Lance can see that he's checking the group message. If you practice too much, you can over-practice, and then when the time comes, if you f me up once, you get lost and you stumble, and it's hard to recover. That's where you're not supposed to actually write a speech. You just write note cards and wing it. Keith says, I'm not really a fan of winging it. Yeah, no kidding. Lance rolls his eyes, sagging heavier on Keith's shoulders. Keith tries to shrug him off, but Lance isn't moving. Lance, get off of me. No, I'm tired. I'm sore. My legs are like jelly. Have some sympathy, Keith. Stop being dramatic. Can't help it, dude. It's in my blood. Kate snorts, tries to disengage himself from Lance once again. But Lance isn't having any of it. He wraps his arms around Keith's neck and wraps the leg around him. Keith grunts, trying to push off his leg, but he's persistent. What the you doing? Keith, carry me. And why in the ever living hell would I do that? Because you worked me to the bone, Keith. You don't want me to trip on my tired legs and fall down the stairs, do you? Break a leg is just an expression. Use the elevator. You're so cruel, you piggy-backed pitch. Pitch is significantly smaller than you. Lance goes, what? I thought you lifted, bro. You saying I'm too heavy for you? I mean, I understand if you can't. Oh my god, Lance, shut up! He sounds exasperated, but not mad. He pinches the bridge off his nose and sighs, shaking his head. It's a gesture that Lance has come to realize it's him gracefully extending feet. Alright, but you're carrying my bag. Lance lets out a happy squeal that he's not in the least bit embarrassed by, and scrambles away from Keith, grabbing his bag in Keith's. He throws one over to each shoulder and hurries back to Keith, who's standing with his hip cocked to the side, arms crossed over his chest, and watching Lance with an raised eyebrow. Try as he might, if he even trying, and he can't hide the amusement playing across his features. Lance grins at him broadly, gesturing with impatient hands for him to turn around. He rolls his eyes and does as he's bid, shifting his legs apart to balance his weight as he bends down a little, holding his arms out to the side. Lance wastes no time jumping on Keith's back, wrapping his long limbs around him. Keith grunts, straightening as his hands hesitantly wrap around Lance's knees. He hops a little, adjusting Lance's weight. Jesus, why are you so heavy? It's all muscle, dude. Check out these guns. Let's go Keith with one arm in order to flex, but Keith spins sharply, throwing off his balance. He lets out a small yelp that he's a little ashamed of, and clings to Keith once again. Rude. And to think I gave you front row seats to the gun show. Keith chuckled. If I wanted to see Nerf guns, I'd go to Walmart. Haha, very funny. Lance is rally. Then he straightens and points to the door, saying much more enthusiastically, hi ho! Mullet away! Keith doesn't even try to hide his soft chortle of the laugh. It's insanely adorable, which isn't a weird thing to think, because plenty of Lance's friends have adorable laughs. Take Kong for example. His laughter is the best, and when pitch really gets along, they'll get shorty and high pitched, and it's hilariously cute. Really? That's the best you could do? Lance gives up in mock offense as Keith carries into the door, and Lance reaches out as they pass to flick off lights. Well, I can't really call you silver, can I? There's nothing silver about you. Except your pasty ass skin. And I would have gone for another horse reference, but Black Beauty was too much of a compliment. I have standards, you know. You could have fooled me. Excuse. Face it, Lance. You need new material. If you keep calling me mullet, I'm going to start thinking you actually like my hair. Lance goofs and sputters, making a big show just for the hell of it, and possibly because he knows they might get Keith to laugh again. Please, Keith. This rat's nest? Lifts hand to rub Keith's hair. He's just going to ignore how soft it is. Like, wow, what conditioner does this boy use? Keith ducks his head to get away, but there's no escaping. Lance laughs. Your hair is terrible, and you should feel bad. If I cut it, you'll lose most of your insults. Who knows, you might start calling me by my name. Lance hums, considering. You're right. Keep it. I don't want all my famous mullet research to go to waste. You can almost hear Keith rolling his eyes. They get to the elevator and Keith nods to the panel. Hit the button. The elevator? Really? He says, but hits the down button anyway. They hear the contraction come to life. They haven't taken the elevator a single time since they've started this whole rivalry fiasco. And even after they became partners instead, they still took the stairs. There's like an unspoken rule about it. I'm not taking the abs as carrying your fat ass. Sure be a wimp. When the door dinged open, Keith steps inside and Lance hits the ground floor button. As doors close, Lance feels a strange sense of confinement come over him. He's never been particularly claustrophobic, and he's never had a problem with elevators. But there's something infinitely more private about being trapped inside a small metal box than being alone in a long, echoey stairwell. The silence that falls feels suffocating, leaving him with nothing to think about besides the fact that he's got a mildly attractive guy between his thighs. And okay, he admits, that was a weird way to think about it. Hey Keith, he says to break the silence. Yeah? There's nothing unreadable in his voice. Or maybe Lance is just imagining. He continues on anyway, saying the only thing he can think to say. Probably because it's the main thing that's been bothering him. Are you nervous? He asks, voice coming out a lot softer than he had meant to. It takes him a moment to answer. Nervous about what? Lance let out a surprised start. Keith, don't be a smartass, he says, lightly smacking the side of Keith's head. Then, a little more grumpily, he adds, you know what I mean. No, I'm not nervous, he says as ever with a sense. Are you? Well, yeah. He doesn't see any reason to deny it, especially since Keith can't see his face now. This is like a big deal for me. I really want to go to regionals, and we'd had half the time to prepare as everyone else, and we've never danced together before. And there's like 1,000,005 things that could go wrong. What if someone breaks their arm again? What if I break my arm? If I get sick? What if I completely blank and forget everything? Oh my god. I'm going to choke, aren't I? I'm totally going to choke. He cut off from his increasingly panicked rambling as Keith takes a step back, pushes back up against the elevator wall. Keith leans back into him heavily, pushing the air out of his lungs. He tilts his head back against Lance's chest. He gets a mouthful of malt. He sputters, turning his head to get the strands unstuck from his lips. You're not going to choke, he says, and forgive him for being so calm about this. Why is Lance the only one panicking? But how do you know? Lance whines. Keith shrugs beneath his arms. I just do. Keith? Keith sighs. Look, how many times we had run through it? A lot. And how many times have I corrected you until you got the perfect form? Too many times. And did it help you improve? Maybe. Are you confident with dance? For the most part, and he was so good at pulling off, even when he fucks up. Me? And who has faith that he can pull this off? Shiro? Literally everyone but you. So, we'll just chill? We'll be fine. Lance groans, despite the warmth that's spreading in his chest. How are you so calm about this? Then he shrugs again. We went through the routine enough time that it's just muscle memory now. Dance is more than just muscle memory. You know, another shrug. Every time he does it, his shoulders rub against Lance's chest. He doesn't like that, he knows that. It's gonna meet us far, and it's going to be what gets us through auditions. Lance goes, well, you sure are cocky. Yeah, you should be too. The elevator dinks as it opens, and Keith leans off the back wall. They stumble forward for a moment before he catches himself. Then, they're walking down the hall. It's nearly empty at this time. The dance classes haven't started yet, so the only people here are those like them. More the independent study type. A few people give them curious glance as they pass, but Keith doesn't pay them any mind. Whenever Lance makes eye contact, he gives them finger guns and a wink. He's the king of making other people look away first. Hey Keith. Yeah? Thanks for the pep talk and everything. Don't get used to it. Wouldn't dream of it. When they reached the front lobby, Pinch and Hunk were already there waiting. Crane stands in the open door to the office. leaning casually against the doorframe while he talks to the two of them. When Key and Lance come around the corner, conversation stops as they all turn to stare with varying expressions of amusement and surprise. Key takes a few more steps toward them, and Lance grinning, lifting in a hand in the air. Hi, guys. Keith. Keith turns sharply, pivoting on his heel as he lets go of Lance's legs, pulling it off his lips as he turns. Lance hasn't been holding on tightly, and he promptly thrown to the floor on his ass. Keith! Lance repeats, putting everything to his offended tone as he glares at Keith, rubbing his ass. Pidge is cackling behind him, and Corinne is chuckling. Even Hunk is laughing, and Lance is so betrayed. Special delivery, Keith announces, gesturing to Lance into one hand. I'm not signing for that. Can we return it? Pidge says. Lance gapes at him. Rude. But Keith is laughing softly under his breath as he bends down to pick up his bag, and Lance can't bring himself to be too mad for him. Fucking Keith. See you guys tomorrow, he says, giving them all a small salute with two fingers as he turns and walks back toward the hall. Lance has learned over the past few weeks that Keith always parks in the back. As he watches him go, he remembers something and scrambles to his feet to hurry at them. Keith! Wait up! Keith stops, hurrying around the corner, and turns to stare at him. What? Lance gets to stop in front of him, grinning. You know that red plate you have? Yeah? Looks about 12 flavors of confused. Where tomorrow? What? Where tomorrow? With a black shirt and black pants. He raised an eyebrow. Why? Lance just grins. Just trust me. Ooh, I feel like it's very confident enough for those two to just put themselves and getting along in some other kind. But that's just the way they are. Just putting themselves together and getting to know each other. For quite some time, but okay. That'll be good enough. Alright, let's move on. Keith makes it to the studio nearly an hour before auditions. Despite what he had said to Lance, he's feeling a little nervous. It's not often he performs in front of a crowd, or anyone for that matter. So he's not used to the anticipation of it all. That's honestly the worst part. Having to just waiting and all the adrenaline of it just souring in his veins. He knows once they get up there, he'll be fine. Once they're dancing, he'll be fine. Once it's over, he'll be fine. But it's everything that leads up to doing it that's got him on edge. He had been pacing around his apartment, unable to start anything and unable to just calm down. So he had decided, forget. He'd go to the studio early, gets a key for Corinne, and holds himself up in an empty room, running through the routine a couple more times. His muscle memory is impeccable, as always. Sure, they changed it a bit when they adapted it to people. And yeah, they added a bunch of things, but this dance was his first. He had much more time to prepare, and besides, this is his element. Memorizing choreography like this is what he's good at. Lance, on the other hand, it's not that Lance is bad. It's not just his thing. Keith knew that going into this, even when he was trying, even when he was listening to Keith's instructions and mirroring his moves, Keith could feel him struggling to contain the urge to act out, to dance his own way. Keith could practically feel him fighting against the choreography, despite his determination to learn it. It just wasn't in his nature. Keith could see that he wanted to learn, but his attention was just constantly drifting, and Keith had constantly reined it back in. So Keith had drilled him hard. He had corrected him mercilessly. He had made Lance go through it step for step, making him pause so Keith could adjust his arm here, adjust his leg out a little there, curves his torso every so slightly. He'd made sure each and every one of Lance's poses were perfect, that they hit the correct beats at just the right times. Lance complained. Holy shit, did he complain. He whined and he pouted and he did everything Keith asked. He never gave up and he let Keith go about nitpicking everything. Keith isn't even sure that Lance realizes how much it helped him improve. He's a good dancer, as that's obvious. And all that attention to detail making Lance go through it over and over and over until they were perfectly in sync. It had actual help. It had drilled it to Lance's muscle memory without the idiot even knowing. Lance knows the moves. He fucking knows his dance like the back of his hand. Keith knows he does. Keith honestly has a complete faith in him. The real question is Lance going to get so far into his own head that he doesn't trust his body just to do what Keith taught it to do? Keith doesn't know the answer to that question, but there's nothing he can do about it at this point. He tried his best to give a pep talk yesterday, and that had been awkward as hell. He's not used to being that guy. That's usually Shiro's deal. Still, Lance is his partner in this. It's the least he can try and get him to calm the fuck down and trust himself. All Keith can do now is focus on himself and make sure that he does what he's supposed to do and just pray to anything that'll listen that Lance can pull this off. He'd gone through the routine several times with long breaks between to just scroll through his phone and distract himself when he gets a message, then 2, then 3. He just watches as his iPhone blows up. Dude, where are you? We're here. Me, Hunk, and Pitch. I wanted to get there like an hour or 2 or 3 ago, but some people thought it was excessive. Rude much. I stayed the night with them last night so they could make sure I got here on time. Not that I've slept much, even though Hunk made me sleepy time tea. It just made me pee a lot. I think my bloodstream is like 50% coffee right now. Is that a bad thing? Totally no. Anyway, where are you, dude? Don't tell me you forgot, or you're late, or you're skipping out on me, or that got into an accident, or you're in the hospital. I'll kick your ass, Keith Cocaine. I swear I will. Keith. Jep, C. Lance, stop. There you are. Well, sort of. Where are you really? Like, physically right now. And the answer better be almost there. I'm here. At the studio. Wait, really? I've been here for an hour. I'm upstairs. I'll head down now. You got here early? Yeah. Oh, nice. This is a big thing for me too, Lance. I'm going to get out for you. I know. I'm just nervous. No, but you do fine. Damn right I will. Just make sure to carry your own weight, hotshot. By the way, you remember to wear your red plate, right? Yeah? Good. Keith shoves his phone back into his pocket as he reaches the butt of the steps and steps out into the main hall. Auditions are set to take place in room 1A, one of the biggest rooms on the ground floor. A quick check of the time tells him that it's 10 minutes until the hour, when it's scheduled to start. Everyone is filtering into the room except for Lance, who's leaning against the wall outside the room, one leg propped up on the wall behind him and hands shoved in his pockets. He looks up as Keith approaches, a bright grin spreading his lips. You got to be kidding me, Keith says, frowning as he crosses his arms over his chest. Lance doesn't need an explanation to know what Keith's talking about. He pushes off the wall and holds his arms out to the side. What do you think? He crosses his ankles and it gives a smooth spin. Keith raises his hand up. I think you're an idiot. Oh, don't be that way, Keith. We look good. No, this is just auditions, right? Not judging us on appearances. Just how we dance. Well, yeah, but they'll appreciate an extra effort we're putting into this. They'll never know what we only had 2 weeks to prepare. I don't think they'll be fooled by matching outfits, Keith admits. All the judges signed up for saw auditions. Lance officially shrugs, putting his hands on his hips. His grin morphs into more of a smirk. Come on. It's all about showmanship. Appearances might not officially count, but we're definitely going to stick out. Always in a good way. Lance scoops and steps closer to slinging arm around Keith's shoulders. Have some faith in me, Keith, buddy, old pal. We got this awesome duality thing going on our dance, you know? And now that's enforced by our awesome casual fire and ice get up, he says, waggling his eyebrows, tugging on the edges of his open plaid. His plaid matches Keith's almost perfectly except for the fact that it's blue instead of red. Both of them are wearing open with black shirts underneath and the sleeves roll up to their elbows. Like Keith, Lance is wearing black jeans. The way the blue and black complement Lance's skin tone, showing off the definition of his forearms. God, where'd he get off? It just wasn't fair that he could dress like a hobo half the time, a douchebag the other half, and still manage to look good like this. What an soul. Kate rolls his eyes. Fire and ice, huh? Yeah, pretty cool, right? Lance grinned, and Keith glanced at him silently. He refuses to turn his head all the way. They're too close as it is. He gives Lance a flat stare, but feels a smile tugging at his lips. You're fired because you're Mr. Hotshot, and I'm ice, obviously, because I'm just that cool. Lifts his chin, tugging at his collar. Keith snorts. The room is crowded, much more crowded than all auditions had been. But he supposes that's to be expected when everyone is auditioning in pairs. Still, his anxiety over being such a crowded space, surrounded all by the sound and voices. It sounds so bad. Now when Lance's arm is still over his shoulder as he guides Keith across the room to where Pidge and Hunk are sitting up against the wall with Shiro and Laura. Hunk and Lance fist bump. Shiro puts an encouraging hand on Keith's shoulder. Pidge flashes them a thumbs up. Laura gives them a brilliant smile and a wave. Keith and Lance settle down next to the four of them, and it's comforting to be around them, and it helps ease his nerves. Still frazzled with anticipation, it's easy to ignore the steadily filling room when he pressed so close to the familiar bubble of his close friends. When the clock hits the hour, Grant is suddenly there at the front of the room, and not a second late. He welcomes everyone and starts his prepared speech, much like he had for all auditions. When he's done, he bows in an overly formal way that reminds Keith of something Lance would do, and strides up to the side of the judge's table. They go by the list of order sign-ups, which unfortunately means Keith and Lance are last. When this is announced, Keith sighs. He hates going last. He prefers to go first and get it over with than sit and stew in anticipation. At the sound of his sigh, and what he can only assume is a sour look on his face, Lane leans over and whispers, "Hey, don't worry about it. Got this." Keith scowls, hunching his shoulders slightly as he slides down the wall. "I'm not worried," he mumbles. "I just don't like going last." Lance snorts softly, nudging his shoulder with his own. "What are you talking about? Last is the best time to go. The first thing they remember is the last thing they see. You know, we're going to be so memorable that they have to give us one of the spots." Keith glances up at him, and feeling his expression soften when faced with Lance's confident smirk. "Well, you sure are cocky," he snickers, tilting his chin down as he raises an eyebrow. "Wasn't it you who told me I should be?" Keith just smiles. The list of contestants is longer than Keith anticipated, or maybe time just moves a lot slower when he's watching everyone dance. He's not really sure. Some of their competition is good, but others could use some obvious improvement. He watches them all with a critical eye, but it's not judging. Just watching the choreography, interest peek at what others might have come up with. Half the time he's not even seeing what people are doing, but rather the potential of what they could be doing if their dances had been tweaked just right. Beside him, Lance is a nervous wreck. He might have talked big about being the last to go, but Keith can see his nerves are frayed. He's twitching a lot. Keith can see him out the corner of his eye, fingers drumming against his arms, foot restlessly bouncing. He watches the others dance with polite attention, But in the breaks, his eyes are shifting everywhere, lips pressed tight. He's not even talking, which is probably that worries Keith the most. Keith doesn't think he's practically nervous, but Lance is doing a damn fine job of making him feel it. The tension is eased somewhat when it's Honk and Pidge's turn. Lance is up straight, crossing his legs and leaning forward with rapid tension. As the two of them plug in Pidge's phone and take their staring positions side by side at the front of the room, Lance leans over to Keith, nudging him with his elbow. I help with this one. Keith's eyes on Carly. I thought you didn't like to choreograph dances. I don't. Lance scoops, rolling his eyes. I see it more like... He waves a hand around vaguely. Helping them figure out a good groove? How to get from one set of moves to the next. I help with transitions and stuff. Looks at Keith with the corner of his eyes, giving him a slight smile and a wink. Impressed? Now it's Keith's turn to roll his eyes, but it's a good-natured smile and subs. We'll see. Pidge and Hunk go through a complicated handshake with a lot of fist bumps and flaring fingers before they turn to the crowd, grinning as the music starts. They start with a tapping their feet to the beat, wrists flicking, and then Hunk moves quick, rotating on his heels and throwing up a hand over Pidge's head to gesture to them. He stands still as Pidge goes through a series of moves to the beat. He moves that are high energy but with that small pitch flare. Then Pidge is moving, rotating on their feet to gesture to Hunk before freezing. Hunk picks up immediately, doing his own set of very Hunk-like dance moves. And then suddenly they're both going through a series of poses, each falling on a heavy downbeat and holding for just a fraction of a second before they're moving on to the next. The first pose is together, but the following ones are different, yet they still seem to fit together. Each pose, though not the same, seem to fit together in one cohesive picture, a frame that only lasts half a second before changing. The poses devolve into more separate dancing, but they're still together. Then they're slapping hands and gesturing together. It goes on like that. Their moves are together and then separate. But even when they're doing their own thing, it fits together so perfectly that Key can't question it. They play off each other, high-fiving and punching the other into a new pose. And right then when they look like they're going to evolve into separate dances, they're suddenly syncing up again for several beats. Separate but together, always together. Keith sees how they play off their size difference. Instead of spending the whole dance side by side, as a lot of duos do, they're constantly moving. They're doing their own thing, playing off the move and energy off the other. They rotate around, at one point going back to back and taking turns in the spotlight before spinning around to show the other. They position themselves to pitch to move forward, knowing that there's not much they can do to block the view of Hunk anyway. The dance style has a lot more energy than Keith knows Pidge likes to do on their own, but he knows Pidge is perfectly capable of pulling it off. There's a lot of big gestures for Hunk's style, but there are fine finesses and sharp moves that distinctly come from Pidge. At one point when the music slows, they do as well, moving with the control fluidity that Pidge specializes in. He's actually surprised as how well Hunk pulls it off, but he supposes he's been dancing with Pidge for long enough, so it would make sense that he's picked up. They move stiffly, body bouncing a little when each step like they're on hydraulics. You can practically hear the steam and grind of metal with their movements, and while each of them move their own accord, out of sync with the other, it still fits together perfectly, like two gears, one big and one small, moving independently but together. They end standing stiffly, one hand each in the air, then slowly bending forward and lowering their hands over their torsos in a bow. The audience claps and cheers as they have after every performance, but Keith likes to think it's a little louder than usual. That may, he thinks, have something to do with the fact that Lance is practically screaming beside him. It's not long after that it's Cheryl and Laura's turn. Okay, we're gonna stop this, okay? Oh god, I'm so tired today. See you guys tomorrow. That's a matter time. As their names are called and the two of them stand, everyone lights up and excited whispers. Cheryl and Laura are legendary at Altea. They're easily the best duo here, and no one really tried to fight that. At this point, auditions are just a formality for them. Everyone knows they're going to get in, but they still enjoy the opportunity to watch them nonetheless. Keith definitely enjoys getting to see them dance. They have such emotional and physical synergy that comes across with their dancing, and it's absolutely incredible. Watching the two of them sing how dance had helped Shiro get back to being himself after he lost his arm. It had been what pushed Keith into dancing in the first place. As they plug in Laura's phone and select the song, pausing it and handing it over to Karan, they take their places at the front of the room. Keith isn't sure if it's intentional or not, but he swears everyone in the room seems to shuffle back a few feet, winding the dance floor at the front of the room. It is well known that the two of them use a lot of space. They stand back to back, and as the music starts, Keith swears the whole room is holding their breath. He knows it is. The music is slow and emotional. They go through a series of poses, completely independent of each other, but playing off the other in subtle ways. And then they're together as the lyrics start, taking a long, exaggerated lunge step. Shiro's hand in there, seeming guiding Allura, then they're stepping apart, bending backwards, turning, straightening. Her hand is in his as he goes a graceful leap to her position. They come together before falling apart to the floor, quickly lying on their backs, side by side, but facing opposite ways. Allura goes to the bridge and Shiro is under her, rolling over, propping his head under his calves to lift her legs, and giving a firm push to help give her the momentum to pull her legs forward. Then suddenly, he's standing, her leg hooked around his neck. He swings her around to his back. She straightens as he bends forward, putting her back down on her feet. She's immediately fallen to her knees and pulls him down with her. The music picks up and they roll, leaping to their feet to go through a series of coordinated moves. Their synergy was electric. They dance in a way that's physically emotional, playing out a story. Instead of dancing to the song seems to just be a background for their performance. They play off each other, the limbs flowing out of control. Laura never hesitates when she lifts her or throws her around. Keith can see the complete trust she has in him, a trust gained after years of working together, and it damn near takes his breath away. With the way they dance together, the way they flow together, it's easy to forget that his brother has a prosthetic. The judgments they've made to compensate for it are subtle, barely noticeable. The way they dance is so natural. Laura's hair falls freely as they move, falling in front of her face and over her shoulders, while only adding to the emotional appeal of the story. Their faces are relaxed, eyes only for each other. It's like they've completely forgotten performing in front of the others. It's like they only exist for each other, like the audience is just intruding on a private moment. And it's kind of synergy, a kind of tension and adoration that can't be faked. Jesus Christ. His brother is blind as a fucking bat. Just dance partners his ass. When the music fades, there's a beat of silence where no one in the room dares to break it. And then Shiro and Laura looked up, heartbroken expression for a moment ago gone, and replaced by the bright grins. One person claps, then suddenly the room erupts in applause. Shiro scratches the back of his neck, smiling shyly at the audience as Laura takes his hand and leaps into a graceful bow. Wow! Lance breathes beside him. Yeah, because there's not much else he can say. Then it's like Lance snaps out the spell that's hung over all of them. He leans back on the hand, head lolling to the side as his eyes go half-lidded, and he smirks. It's gonna be tough, but we can beat him. He gives him an incredulous look. One eyebrow raise. Beat them? We saw the performance, right? We're nowhere near their caliber. Lance scoofs, lean over to nudge Keith's shoulder with his own. Come on, Kitty boy. Confidence is key here. It's time your old hag of a brother went down. Gotta make way for a new generation, right? Keith snorts to hold back his laugh. Shiro's an old hag, but Laura's not? What? Of course not. Have you seen her? She could be 10,000 years old and still look just as gorgeous. Keith hums an affirmative because there's not much he can say to contest that. Time seems to flow in a weird, confined flux after that. It takes forever for their names to be called. Once they are, it's like time has passed in the blink of an eye. Keith's head snaps up. Heart instantly racing, a surge of adrenaline rushed through his veins. Lance is grinning at him, grabbing his arm and yanking him to his feet. Let's go, hotshot! They pick their way through the mass of sitting dancers, all them angsty to lead out of their audition but politely saying. Keith hands his phone to Cran, the song already selected. The man grins at him, idly twisting his mustache. There's an odd twinkle of what Keith thinks is excitement in his eyes as he says, "Good luck, boys." Keith gives him a small smile, nodding as he goes back to Lance, who is standing in the center of the open floor, arms moving back and forth as he bounces on the balls with speed. Ready for this? Are you? I got this down, for reals. Try to keep up, mullet man. He sends him a smirk, and a wink before he's turning his back to him. Keith steps up and puts his back to Lance's, and they lock arms. Relax, Keith says under his breath. I am relaxed, Lance says back. I can feel how stiff you are, idiot. He sounds for B, so Keith continues, voice kinder. Got this, Lance. Just relax. Thanks. You don't have time to talk more because Cran's hit play and Elder Brooks could starts playing. As soon as the opening beats start, they both still suddenly focus. Keith feels the music crawl beneath his skin, tugging on the strings of his muscle memory. He doesn't have to think. It's just another run through. Just another time they dance to this song. He knows it, and he knows he can do this. The anxiety and nervousness that had built up with the weight and anticipation ooze out of him, leaving him laser focused. Despite the adrenaline that's spiking his bloodstream, he feels eerily calm. The lyrics start, and the two of them lean quickly to the side before jerking back to lean forward, their arms laying apart. Then they're leaning back, arms locking once again. They both kick their back feet out, bending them at the knees as they lower their weight, and balancing a little as it settles. They hold it for a second, before there's quicker motion. They put their feet down, arms unlocking in the air. They pose them up in the air, turning their heads forward as their wrists rotate their fists. Then with the beat, they're going through a series of poses. Lance leans forward as Keith leans back. Then Keith bends forward as Lance leans back, going back and forth and gesturing with their hands. One beat of a pause, then the legs are kicked out. They rotate, dancing around each other, backs always to each other, even as they step and spin. Kick out and rotate. They stop after a short spin, backs to each other. They go through several moves, gesturing with their legs and their arms. And while Lance's back is to Keith, he knows Lance is perfectly in time with him. He can feel it. When Lance puts his mind to it, Keith knows he can trust him to sync up with him. It's an uncanny ability that Keith appreciates. They come together, Keith facing the audience and Lance back to him. They have a hand on each other's shoulder and their free hands on their hips. Then Keith lifts his hand to Lance's shoulder, spinning him around. As soon as they both facing forward, their feet are in motion with a new beat. Keith doesn't focus on the audience in front of him. He focuses on his body, his movements, and Lance beside him. The movements are quick, fitted in with slower movements to mix it up. There's a lot of hand motions, tiny feet movements, and then they jump, slow and controlled, landing with right knees bent and left leg extended, arms eventuating the diagonal. They inch up, spin, and then Keith freezes as Lance continues, dancing several quick moves that Keith is fairly certain are improvised. They change every time. Keith counts the beats, and then Lance has frozen, and it's Keith's turn to move. To be honest, the moments of dance exchanges weren't part of Keith's original vision, but Lance has insisted and Keith had given in, if only because they only had less than 2 weeks to prepare, and those were just moments they didn't have to coordinate together. After Keith's moment, they come back together, quick small moments and bigger slow ones, hips moving and body shaking. They go down to the ground, executing a few poses with their legs as their arms hold them up before they rotate their feet under them, jumping back up. The rest of the dance passes in a blur. He doesn't think. He just acts. There are a few times where Lance obviously stumbles over the choreography, but he recovers quickly. He manages to improvise for a few steps in such a way that it looks natural before fitting back in with Keith. Keith sends him a few looks, but Lance isn't looking at him. His face is set in a rare expression of concentration. They end very similar to how they started, back to back, making different poses before locking arms and stopping as the song ends. There's still a moment before the audience starts applauding. Amongst them, you can hear Pitch, Hunk, and Allure at the most. They let go of each other, stepping apart. Keith looks over at their friends, and he's nearly taken aback by the looks he finds there. Hunk looks ecstatic, sitting up straight and clapping loudly as he shouts. Pitch is on their feet next to him, hands on his shoulders and jumping up and down as they grin. Allure's smile splits her face as she leans forward to clap loudly, putting a hand to her mouth as she cheers. When she meets Keith's eye, she winks. Shiro is next to her, clapping and smiling and practically glowing with his proud brother expression. Even Corinne is smiling, clapping him on the shoulder as he goes to get his phone. He's startled when there's suddenly an arm around his shoulders, steering him to face the crowd. Lance bows, forcing him to bow with him. When Keith looks sideways at him, his smile is wide, eyes and hair wild. There's a flush on his cheeks, and he's panting a little, and he looks so incredibly happy. He feels something inside him stir. No, that is not okay. It's gotta be the exhilaration of dancing, especially in front of a crowd. He won't accept anything else. Don't let this go to your head, he says, because he can't bring himself to encourage Lance right now. He's not ready to face that. I saw you f***ed up several times. Lance gasps loudly, putting his free hand to his chest, and leaning his head away to look at Keith. His arm is still around his shoulders. Why, I never! Keith, how dare you insinuate that I was nothing short of perfect? Keith rolls his eyes, putting a hand on Lance's face, pushing him away and off of him. Calm down, Beyonce. We don't know if we made it until tomorrow. Lance stumbles away a step. Aw, Keith, you think I dance like Beyonce? So sweet, he coos. Keith turns to walk back toward their friends, flipping him off over his shoulder, and he can hear Lance cackling as he follows. Alright, that was really bad now. I mean, there are auditions before for auditions, saving them for last. Saving them for last might be a good advantage because they might have a chance to take a lot of time to put a lot of effort into dance what they want to dance, and that's where it goes. Keith will be lying if he said he is nervous as he pulls into his usual parking space that afternoon. It's really a strange feeling, and mostly because he's not entirely sure where it's from. It would be dumb to think auditions don't have anything to do with it. Obviously, that's been weighing heavily on his mind. It's the whole anticipation thing again. He doesn't exactly care if they make it or not. He knows they did their best, and yeah, it could be fun to go to regionals. Yeah, it would probably be good for him. But if they didn't make it, they didn't make it. There's nothing he can do about it now. But the anticipation of waiting to find out if they made it or not is slowly killing his peace of mind. And who the hell is he thinking? He really kind of wants to go to regional stuff. He's kind of building himself up to the idea. And yeah. Okay, so working with Lance, of all people, for a while has the potential to be absolutely horrible. But he thinks the good will outweigh the bad. Plus, they work so hard. It would be disappointing to not make it. He'd move on, of course, but he'd be disappointed. But as much as the outcomes of the auditions is bothering him, he doesn't think that's entirely the cause of his current nerves. It just doesn't feel right. He didn't get much sleep last night. His sleep was dotted with active dreams that he barely remembers. There was dancing and his friends, and let smile. God, that stupid thing was haunting him. and he can't quite figure out why. He doesn't want to figure out why. As he pulls his helmet off and runs his fingers through his hair, anticipation rolls in his gut. As he puts his helmet away and hands for the door to the studio, he's already coming up with reasons why it would be okay if they didn't make it. He wouldn't have to deal with choreographing something with Lance. He wouldn't have to deal with Lance's cocky ass attitude. He wouldn't have to stress over regionals. He could go back to choreographing and dancing for fun by himself. As he pulls the door open and steps inside, he feels like he might be sick. What the f is wrong with him? A whisper of doubt is fleeting in his mind, but definitely there. He pushes it aside. He's already made friends during this whole ordeal. Some of them are friends he had to begin with. It's not like they're going to ditch him if he doesn't make it to regionals. They'll still be there and still talk to him and still hang out with him. Lance will still bug him sometimes, right? He doesn't think Lance's stupid idea of a rivalry between them will allow him to ditch Keith altogether. The main hallway is empty, but can hear the cheering sounds coming from the front lobby where the bulletin board is, where results will be posted. He listens closely as he nears, trying to pick out familiar voices. He rounds the corner and he pauses. There's a crowd in front of the lobby, most of whom are gathered around with the bulletin board. He spies his friends standing near the office door. All of them are there, and they're all smiling. Karen is talking with Laura and Shiro, who Keith notices are standing very close to each other, like as close as they can without touching. God, his brother is infuriating. Paige and Lance are sitting next to them, talking animatedly with lots of expressions and hand gestures. Hunk stands near them, smiling as he listens to their exchange. He's the first to see Keith. He looks up and his smile widens as he gestures to him. Keith lifts a hand in greeting just as Lance tightens, straightening as he spins around. His eyes lock on Keith, and suddenly his face is breaking out in the widest grin Keith's ever seen in his goddamn life. Keith! And suddenly Lance is there, charging across the lobby and wrapping Keith up in a rib bruising hug as he lifts him off his feet and spins around. It's strangely reminiscent of what he had done in the bookstore all those days ago. The tension in his gut relaxes just as his chest clenches. And oh no. No. Keith is not doing this. Jesus, Lance. He manages to grunt out when Lance puts him back on his feet and releases him, allowing his crushed lungs to draw in a shaky breath. Come on! Lance wastes no time grabbing his arm, practically dragging him across the lobby. Keith stumbles after him before he regains his balance. Lance pushes through a crowd right up to the bulletin board. Lance, where are you? Look, he says, dropping Keith's arm to point at the piece of paper that's pinned to the board. Then Keith realizes what he's looking at. The sheet of paper has two columns, one that's labeled solos and one that's labeled duos. Lance is pointing to their names. Keith barely has a chance to register this before Lance half turns to look back at him out of the corner of his eyes. They're half lidded, his lips curling to a small, confident smirk. He's practically oozing confidence, and while he's not bubbling with happiness anymore, it's still there. It's simmered down into something softer, more sincere, more genuine. Keith can see it in the crinkles around his eyes, in the way his blue irises spark, in the tilt of his smile, in the soft blush in his cheeks. We did it! Says them. Voice strangely soft amongst the chatter, the excited shouts around them. But Keith can hear it loud and clear. We are a good team. With an odd sense of attachment, Keith feels several things all at once. His face is warm, the heat crawling up his neck all the way to his ears. His chest is tight, and he can't seem to take in more than a shallow breath. His heart stutters in his chest before pounding into overdrive to compensate. A strange shocking thrill runs through him, from his chest to his toes. And when it's all tense and detachment, that Keith realizes three things. These reactions have nothing to do with the fact that he made it to regionals. Lance Klein is absolutely, indisputably fucking gorgeous. Keith Coogan, is so completely and totally. That's it. Alright guys, that's finally be it guys. Wow, after all this time they have finally made it. They put themselves audition as a duo, and what did I know, they make it, they made it to the regionals. They're gonna be on the way to regionals, and then yeah, and their lives have been changed, especially to the other, especially to everyone else. Alright guys, that is the end of this chapter of Shut Up and Dance With Me. I know there's going to be lots of things to do about more dancings and all that stuff, but just bear with me because there's gonna be more. Alright guys, bye bye.